And she needs that flashlight because down in the deep sea, you absolutely cannot be a picky eater. Meals are incredibly scarce, so the female operates strictly through opportunistic feeding.
And once she catches something, she absolutely cannot afford to let it go. Down in the deep ocean, meals arrive rarely and they are incredibly unpredictable.
So you're probably wondering, how on earth do they survive at all without an adaptive immune system? Wouldn't they just get sick and die?
So I want you to picture this environment for a second. Vast, endless, completely black water. Down here, there are absolutely no landmarks. The only things breaking up that immense darkness are sparse, drifting flakes of marine snow.
So why would nature go to such insane lengths? Well, this bizarre reproductive system makes perfect evolutionary sense in an ocean that is endless and mostly empty.
And honestly, this completely breaks our standard biological definition of an individual. Normally, we define an organism as having a single coherent body, a single integrated physiology, and a single nervous system.
But for those that do permanently fuse, okay, it gets even stranger. Some females will carry a single male for their entire lives.
And then the dissolution begins. His digestive system atrophies first, which makes sense since it's no longer needed. Then his eyes degenerate, totally useless in permanent darkness on a completely immobile body anyway.
Well, to navigate the deep dark, this tiny guy is equipped with highly developed sensory structures. He isn't relying on sight to find her glowing lure from miles away, right?
It turns out the tiny male anglerfish is born with a ruthless ticking clock. He hatches as a free-swimming fish with functional eyes, but his digestive system is completely non-functional. He literally cannot eat. But here's the catch. Having a glowing light right next to your mouth is a really good way to accidentally light up your own terrifying teeth, right? Well, she ensures her prey never actually sees the trap. If you look at her teeth under polarized light, they aren't just normal bone, because this isn't just some weird, isolated anomaly. When you step back and look at the macro view of evolution, this strategy is an absolute masterpiece of survival.
The scale difference here is absolutely staggering. On one side, we have the giant female, that massive opportunistic predator we just talked about. But on the other side, we have the male.
So while the massive female is built entirely around that glowing lure and those giant jaws for ambush predation, the tiny male is built for exactly one thing.
So in 1922, an Icelandic biologist named Bjarni Sæmundsson was examining a preserved female halibut under lab lighting and noticed two tiny organisms attached to her belly. He photographed them, published a paper, and just assumed they were typical parasitic crustaceans extracting nutrients. Makes sense, right?
Which naturally brings us to her teeth. Think about it. If you have a brightly glowing lure sitting right next to your mouth, standard white teeth would reflect all that light, right? Her most famous adaptation, of course, is that glowing lure, the Eska, hanging directly in front of her mouth on a modified spine. Now, in a standard bioluminescence setup, you'd probably just assume the fish is producing this cold, blue-green light all by herself, right? Her luminous lure acts as a deadly beacon to attract curious prey right out of the dark. And when a small fish cautiously approaches that light, boom, she suddenly engulfs it. She's equipped with this enormous mouth. To handle this, her jaw mechanics are, frankly, impossible. Thanks to these rotating skull bones, her jaws can expand massively. And her stomach? It has basically no rigid structural constraints.
Well, they manage this extreme vulnerability primarily because their environment, the deep ocean, has significantly fewer pathogens than shallow, warmer waters.
And maybe the occasional faint blue-green flash of bioluminescent particles. The ocean is unimaginably vast, and life down here is incredibly spread out.
It solves the massive problem of incredibly rare encounters. If you might only bump into a mate once in your entire lifespan, you absolutely cannot afford to let them swim away.
But let's look at our fused anglerfish. It has one nervous system that dictates everything, the females. It has one circulatory system that keeps everything alive.
But observations of certain species have actually shown females supporting multiple attached males at the exact same time. She effectively becomes this self-contained.
His brain actually reduces down to only the absolute minimal neural tissue required for reproduction. Over a period of weeks, every independent organ system he has just progressively regresses and dissolves.
Instead, he follows specific chemical cues, drifting through the water. He relies heavily on an incredibly acute sense of smell to basically sniff out a female in the pitch black.
Instead, he's equipped with these massive, highly developed nostrils. Running entirely on his finite yolk sac reserves from birth, his desperate single-minded mission is to use that extraordinary sense of smell.
They're basically needles of transparent material made of crystalline arrays of hydroxyapatite. They function exactly like biological optical fibers. Instead of reflecting the faint glow of her lure and blowing her cover, they transmit the light straight through their structure, minimizing scattering. There are over 200 distinct species of ceratoid anglerfish distributed globally across all deep ocean basins. And while they show an incredible diversity in the shape of their glowing lures and bioluminescence, they all share this extreme sexual dimorphism.
And he is tiny. In some species, these males are incredibly small specialists. They don't have the glowing lure, they don't have the massive teeth. Sure, he has functional eyes, but more importantly, he possesses the largest and most highly developed nostrils relative to his body size of any fish known to science.
But 3 years later, in 1925, British ichthyologist Charles Tate Regan took a look at those exact same specimens. With growing absolute disbelief, he realized these weren't parasites at all. They were fish. Specifically, they were the missing males.
They'd act like a giant warning beacon to any approaching prey. But the anglerfish solves this with just an incredibly elegant piece of biological engineering. Her long, curved teeth are completely transparent. But she isn't. The female anglerfish is actually farming symbiotic bacteria, specifically of the genus Allivibrio, right inside that bulb. She gives them nutrients in a safe little home, and in return, they provide a continuous light source.
Terrifying needle-like teeth and a highly flexible anatomy, including a distensible stomach that lets her take on surprisingly huge meals. She is just a massive ambush predator built for ultimate survival.
She can easily swallow prey twice her own body mass, literally filling her entire body cavity with just a single oversized meal.
For the anglerfish, the incredible reproductive benefit of permanently securing a mate simply outweighs the tremendous, seemingly fatal risk of living with massive immune deficiency.
Imagine just swimming through this abyss for days, weeks, maybe even longer, without ever crossing paths with another member of your own species.
Permanent attachment guarantees that a mate is always biologically available. It is the absolute perfect adaptation for the deep, dark ocean.
The females. Yet it contains multiple, entirely distinct genetic reproductive systems from up to 6 different males. It completely fails to fit cleanly into our definitions.
Swimming, mating ecosystem, carrying several permanent partners with her through the dark.
Ultimately, he's no longer a fish in any meaningful sense of the word. He is just a permanent, vascularized sac of testes seamlessly integrated into her body, receiving her blood for nutrition and producing sperm whenever she sends the right hormonal signals.
He's literally following a microscopic chemical trail through the vast abyss.
To track the specific pheromone signature of a female through the pitch-black ocean. It's an impossible biological mandate. Find her before your energy runs out, or starve.
It is just astonishing evolutionary engineering. Her inward-pointing fangs stay completely invisible to approaching prey until, well, it's way too late. They all utilize this exact same strategy of parasitic malfusion to survive and reproduce in an otherwise totally impossible environment.
Their entire physical form has been hyper-specialized for one single, solitary purpose: finding a female. He is essentially just a highly specialized swimming sperm delivery system.
His entire sensory system is a massive investment in detecting the specific pheromone signature of a female in the absolute pitch dark.
It was a discovery that completely upended marine biology. These tiny guys had degenerated eyes and no functional digestive system, but they had testes, and they weren't just hitched for a ride. Their tissues had seamlessly grown together with a female's skin.
They're like needles made of clear glass. So instead of reflecting light, they transmit it. This makes her teeth entirely invisible against the darkness and that faint glow of her lure. The prey literally doesn't even see the teeth until it's already impaled on them.
In the pitch-black ocean, prey animals have evolved to associate light with food, so they come rushing right toward it, having absolutely no idea that they are the food.
And he really has to find her fast, because the number of meals the male anglerfish will ever eat in his entire life? 0. He literally has no functional digestive system. From the exact moment he hatches, a very real ticking clock starts. He is running entirely on the diminishing energy reserves of his yolk sac. He just swims through the vast, dark ocean, frantically following a pheromone gradient, burning precious fuel every single second. If those reserves run out before he finds a female, he just dies.